Hey guys, so guess what? I already filmed this, this part of the video. This is a try a chapter thing, and I already filmed this part of the video, and my computer fucked up. So I gotta refilm that part. And I've already read all the first chapters, so I'm just gonna talk about them as I introduce the books, if that's cool, because, like, I'm real annoyed. Anyway, basically what's going on is I am dying to read a fantasy. Currently, right now, I am reading Social Intercourse by Greg Howard. I'm trying to read a bunch of LGBTQIA plus stuff this month because it is Pride Month. And this is the next one that I picked up. This is hilarious so far. The characters have this really great sense of humor that I'm really enjoying. But once I finish that, which I might even finish tonight, I wanted to have my next read kind of picked out. But I needed a fantasy because I'm like dying. 3 of these I do know for sure have LGBTQIA plus in them. The other 2 I'm not sure, but they were just kind of ones that I want to read. So I just really need a fantasy because I've been reading a lot of contemporary lately because that's where I'm mainly getting LGBTQIA plus stuff in. Is contemporary. It's rare for it to be in fantasy. It's starting to become more common, but it has been rare, and a lot of them I have already read, like The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue, Six of Crows duology. I'm looking at my favorite. Fire and Stars and Ink Mistress by Audrey Coulthurst. I've read both of those. I've read Nevernight and God's Grave by Jay Kristoff. So I've read, like, a lot of them that, like, have it in there, so... And then I've read some others that I read at the library, but I don't know them, so I can't just look over there and tell you. But yeah, so it's rare to find those. But like I said, 3 of these I do know for sure they do have them. And I've already read the first chapter, so I'm just going to tell you my initial thoughts while introducing the books. The first one, Ink Mistress... I'm so dumb. Magic Study by Maria V. Schneider. The first chapter was like 18 pages long. And it was really good because it's been a little while since I read the first book, Poison Study. It's been about a year. So the first chapter kind of had like, hey, this happened in the last book and now we're here. Like, not like in an annoying way, but kind of just refreshing you. So I really appreciated that. So I feel like I could jump right into this and I'd be good. But yeah, it was pretty interesting. The very last line of this chapter had me like, oh, okay. So yeah, pretty interesting first chapter. I don't think this is the one that I'm going to go with just because I enjoyed some of the other ones more, but I definitely want to get to this sooner rather than later. The next one is The Tiger's Daughter, and this one was like only like 6 pages long. Like, it's the first chapter ends on like page 22, but it starts on page like 15. So, but it was super interesting. It's basically we're with this empress and she like gets this like package and it's in like this weird language, and the handwriting's really bad, so like it was hard for them to like decipher what it was and to make sure it was for her. And so this messenger guy takes it to her. And, like, she's like, well, cancel all my stuff for the next 2 days. And he's like, what? But the prince of something is coming tomorrow. And she's like, I don't give a shit. He can stay in the brothel, in whatever brothel he chooses until I'm ready to deal with him. And then he leaves. And then she opens the package, and we find out that it's from this other woman. And I'm pretty sure it's her lover. And I'm like, wow. Okay, then. Yeah, and so that was all that was in the first chapter. But, it's going to be pretty good. I can already tell. I'm going to really like this book. And again, not sure if this is the one I'm going to pick because some of the other ones I really liked, but I really want to read this soon. I feel like I'm definitely going to read this before the month is up. The next one, I did not finish the entire first part of this. It's actually the prologue is like 14 pages long. But it is extremely, and I mean extremely, info dumpy, and it breaks a lot of fourth walls. Like, it definitely kind of refers to you, like, as the reader or whatever, which I really enjoy when it breaks the fourth walls. I think that's interesting. But yeah, so I was reading the prologue. I only read like the first 8 pages just because I know this isn't the one that I'm going to continue on with yet. Like, it's very interesting, and I definitely do want to read this. but it's not the one I want to continue with. And like I said, since it's so info dumpy, I feel like I didn't want to read the whole thing because I know I'll just need to reread it when I actually do read this book. So I figured it'd just be better to stop there. And then that way when I go to read it, I can read the whole thing, consecutively and get the whole picture. The next one, you guys, was The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. And oh man, I was just like, damn. Basically, the first chapter introduces us to our main character, Ren, and she lives with her aunt and uncle. And basically, there was this law after the Second Poppy War that every household that had like less than 2 children or something, or less than 3 or something, had to take in one war orphan. And so they took her in, and they treat her really badly, and they use her as a drug runner. Basically the drug is like opium, and then they also have a store, and so they make her basically she provides them free labor. And anyway, so she does that, and basically they come up with this thing where they're going to let this old guy marry her. And she's like, not about that. And he's already been married 2 times before or something. And anyway, so she ends up going to her tutor, there's this tutor guy, and he offers a free class to basically the war orphans that otherwise wouldn't be able to get any kind of education and they would be illiterate. She goes to him and she tells him what's going on, and basically she makes a deal with him that he's going to tutor her for free to take this really insanely hard test called the Courage. I don't know how to pronounce it. But anyway, it's really hard, and and mostly the people that take it are noble people's kids, and they study their entire lives for this test, and she only has 2 years to study for it. But she wants to do it so that, because if she does that and if she gets high enough marks, she'll get into the Sin Guard, which is this really elite academy for I think for battle people or something. Anyway, so basically the whole first chapter is just about her studying and making the deal with her tutor, and then she actually goes and takes her test, and at the end of the first chapter you learn that she basically got the highest marks out of anybody in her district, and so she's going to be going to the Sin Guard. And so that's where the first chapter leaves off, and I'm just like, oh man, it was just so damn good and action-packed, and I was just completely involved into it the entire time. I was just over here oh man, I was just loving this shit. So I'm almost pretty sure this is the one I'm gonna go with next, but the other one was Reign of the Fallen by Sarah Glenn Marsh, and I read this in the first chapter, and this was the first one that I read, and I was just like, okay. The first chapter is really interesting. It basically kind of just throws you into the story with our main character and basically her partner. Basically, necromancers, they have partners, and they have partners when they do their necromancer or whatever. Anyway, they're standing by the corpse of the dead king, and basically what happens is they have to wait on one of his relatives to come meet them, and they have to go into the Deadlands with them, and basically whoever has a hand in helping them bring back the king. So basically the first chapter is all about the princess coming down and meeting them, and they think that she's just gonna be an annoying little shit because that's usually how the royalty is, but she was actually she's actually very polite. She was late, so she said she was sorry for being late, that she was working on an invention and she lost track of time. And it's very clear that she's extremely clever and smart, and she's got some will there, and a backbone and stuff. Anyway, so then they're going into the Deadlands, and they end up seeing the necromancers. I'm guessing their teacher or something. They see him coming out at the gate of the Deadlands, I guess, and it's kind of I think that it's of water. It's very hard to explain basically. But anyway, they see him coming out, and he's basically like really beat up and stuff, and I think he might have even been like a zombie-ish kind of like thing. That seems what it was like described, or like he's like on the verge of death or whatever, and basically he's like there, and he's like coming out, and then he falls down, and like the last line of like the first chapter is that he let out his last breath, and I'm just like, well, okay. So that one's got me like super interested in it. And yeah, and it like really well like explained like how like the necromancy and the stuff was working without being too info dumpy. I thought it was I really enjoyed the first chapter. I thought it was really interesting. So again, I'm kind of caught because both of these were really good first chapters, and they really hooked me, both of them, and I'm like really invested in both of these, and I think I'll really enjoy both of them. So I don't know what to do. Because like if I'm being honest, I really want to read this one. Like, this is the one that I really want to read, but this one's got the bi main character, so I feel like this is the one I should read since it's still June and it's Pride Month. You know what I'm saying? But like this, guys. Oh my god, this is gonna be so. Okay, you know what? Here's the plan. I'm gonna finish this, and then I'm gonna read this, and then when that's done, I'm gonna read this. How about that? Huh? Let's do that. Cause yeah, I think I really deserve this. Okay, and so before the video messed up, I told you guys, like, in my, like, I've already read like 20 books or something this month, and like pretty much all of them had LGBTQIA plus in there. So I've definitely gotten there. So I think it's okay if I want to read, you know, one book that, and I mean, this even could still have LGBTQIA plus in it. I don't know. Like, that's the thing. I just haven't heard for sure that this does have anything like that in it. All I know about this is that it's a brutal high fantasy, and basically from from the stuff I gathered from the first chapter. That's all I know about this book. But like, I just want to read it so bad because it just sounds so good. And I really loved like her talking about like how she was studying and how she was memorizing and stuff. For some reason, I was just so invested. I was like, yes. It made me like want to like do some studying. Like, I'm literally not in school, but like I would, you know, like, let's go on Hogwarts is here and do some studying. I'm crazy. Anyway, but yeah, I think this is the one I really want to read. Like, this is the one that's calling to me at the moment. So I think I'm gonna read this one, and then I'll read this one when I finish that one. But first, before I can even do that, I gotta finish this one. But I am excited to finish this one. I think I might even finish it today. I'm not sure. But this one I'm really interested in. Like I said, I'm like 40 pages into this one, but the humor is just so good, and the two main characters, they're just both hilarious. So I'm like, again, I'm only on page 40, and I've already laughed out loud so many times because they're just that fucking funny, and their humor is like so close to my humor, and I'm eating it up. It's so good. But yeah, after this, I'm definitely done with contemporaries for a fucking minute because, oh man. But yeah, I'm really excited. This was a really great try a chapter. I actually really enjoyed all of the books. It's just, this one is like in a league of its fucking own with how fucking good it is. Like, it's so damn good. But like I said, Reign of the Fallen was like up there with it too, because they both just incredibly hooked me. So I'm really excited to read The Poppy War. Everybody's been talking about it, and it sounds so good. And like, the first chapter was so good. I'm gonna love it. It's gonna be great. Alright, so I'll catch you guys later. Bye.